Hello YouTube, it's KJ here. I'd like to show you the dipper here in apparently the northern hemisphere. We have the North Star Polaris here, north showing us here, so let's move along a little bit. I'm going to prove to you that the Big Dipper is also Orion's belt and the big pot here in my country in New Zealand. So they can't be in the northern hemisphere and in the southern hemisphere, can they? So here we have Orion's belt, the Big Dipper. You can see that quite clearly. And what I'm going to prove to you is that what we've been told is quite clearly wrong. At this time of year, the Big Dipper is close to the northern horizon at sunset. So we are in the northern hemisphere. Watch as it rises higher in the sky throughout the night and as the year progresses. Now, you can read that for yourself. And okay. Next, let's outline the Big Dipper and use two of its stars to find the North Star and Polaris. So this is important to watch this. Two of the stars in the cup of the Dipper, Merak, Right, and Dubhe, are often called the pointer stars. Now, this is Orion's belt here. Draw a line between these two stars and then continue the line down until you reach a relatively bright star fairly close by. The star Polaris is supposed to be a very bright star. At this time of the year, Orion is visible in the east immediately after sunset. Now, here's Orion's belt. This is what I see in my country, and I will prove to you shortly. This is exactly what we see here. And I'm in New Zealand in the southern hemisphere. The so-called southern hemisphere, that is. Okay, so let's trace the main stars of Orion. These stars should be visible even in the city. Once again, there's Orion's belt. That's slightly irrelevant to, that's not even spy, here we go. Alright, sorry about that, just whip back there, we need to go back to that. Sorry about that. Seasonal stars. New Zealand. People in the southern hemisphere have an upside-down view of what the ancient Greeks recognised as a giant with a sword and belt. New Zealanders see a saucepan, 3 bright stars from the base of the pot, which is Orion's belt, and 3 faint stars, its handle, correct, the base. It is the brightest star in Orion and the 7th brightest star in the sky. Well, yeah, okay. So here we have it. This is exactly, this here is exactly what we see in New Zealand in the southern hemisphere, and that there is Orion's belt, and that's the pot. It's very famous here in New Zealand. Now, Polaris, commonly the North Star or Pole Star, is the brightest star in the constellation Ursa Minor. It is very close to the North Celestial Pole. So we're definitely in the northern hemisphere here, supposedly, making in the current northern pole star. Let's move on. I'm also going to prove to you that the Orion's belt does not at all line up with the pyramids of Giza. Orion's belt, Big Dipper, real life, I think that's supposed to say constellations, but I think it reads very well there. Real life cons. Okay, so let's go and recap the most important things here. Here's Orion's belt, and here's the North Star. Now, that is quite clear. I put it to you all that this is impossible, and this is being manipulated to fool us all, because where I am in the supposed southern hemisphere, once again, here it is. This is the biggest part of all. That's Orion's belt again. I noticed they didn't really put a star there, which is incorrect. That's Orion's belt, and there is the North Star. So I need to know how we have this pattern here, like calling this Betelgeuse. As you'll see from my own film, this is what we do see in the sky. But there's Orion's belt, which is very close to the North Star, which is impossible, is it not? Okay, we'll carry on with the rest. Because this is busted moment. And now we come to my own film, which will prove without a doubt that this is incorrect. Now, also, you will see other stars appearing here, and, well, now remember back to what we saw. Here's Orion's belt. This is my own film. Here's Orion's belt. Here's the shape we were seeing in the northern hemisphere. Now, Orion's belt rises in the east here in New Zealand, and it sets in the west. And it does a 180. It rises in the east horizontally, and it sets in the west vertically. Now, as you can see, there's some explaining to do here, because this is just my camcorder. Here's Orion's belt. Here's another pile of stars that don't even exist officially. And as you can see, I've just zoomed past Orion's belt to another fake star. Faked star. Stars are not what we are told. Now, we see the pot forming. There's part of the handle. Now, this is in New Zealand, so how can we be seeing Orion's belt and the pot in the so-called southern hemisphere when Orion's belt makes up the Big Dipper and is close to the North Star? I just showed you that. As you can see, here is the pot. I really needed to pause that. This should be impossible. This is my camcorder bringing in so-called stars that are a long way away. Now there's the pot. There it is. This is what we see. And this is my own film. So this is non-negotiable. This is busted. Busted. Because these make up the Big Dipper, and you just seen that they are close to the North Star, and I have them here in our sky, real film in front of you now, and it is making up the pot that we have seen, that we always see. So that's it. Game over. I don't see how this can be argued with. As always, I look forward to your comments, and as far as I'm concerned, there's some major explaining to be done. Thanks, take care all. KJ.